Hello, I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley.
And I'm her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Heidi and I want to welcome you to Open to Hope Conversations, the podcast.
We believe that the greatest gift you can give yourself after a loss is hope, using this moment to connect with others who have not only survived but thrived.
So let's get started. Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Heidi. We've got a great guest on today, and he is a wonderful singer, songwriter, and author and presenter, and just kind of an all-around kind of person who's been through a trauma with the death of a child and has really had what you and I like to call post-traumatic growth through it. And we want him to talk about his life and how he's done that and help you with your life. So you want to introduce our guest, Heidi?
Sure, Mom. We'll be talking to our guest today about remembering the love. And we first saw our guest at the Compassionate Friends because he sang, and he's got such a unique and amazing voice. So we're excited to have his song on today. And our guest today is Nathan Pederson, and he is a bereaved parent whose little girl, Olivia, died. He is, as my mom said, a singer, songwriter, and author. And he has written Dance Again, Grief is Healing, and So Am I, Life, Living, and Letting Go. His newest single release is called Masks, which we will play at the end. And he's got albums Dance Again and So Am I. Welcome to the show, Nathan.
Thank you. It's good to be here with you.
It's good to have you on. How long has it been?
She lived for 14 months.
Yeah. And how long ago was that?
She was born in beginning of 2015. So it was that whole year, and then early 2016, she passed away.
Uh-huh. You have 5 kids, right? She's one of them, but
Sure,
you
yeah.
have 4 with us right now.
Yeah.
And how have you kept her memory alive?
Well, just on a really practical level, we have a few things that sort of set up around the house that help us to remember her, just on the daily. So there's at her gravesite, there's a stone bench, and we have a matching stone bench in our garden. And we have some pictures of her around the house, right in front of the sink. So every time we wash dishes, we can say hello. So a couple just little things like that.
I'm liking the fact that you're smiling. You're smiling when you remember her. I think that is key of what happens. You wash the dishes and look at her,
Yeah.
smile and remember. And how about the kids? How old are the kids?
So our oldest is 15. So we have a 15, a 14, a 9, and then we have a 5-year-old.
Uh-huh.
So he's younger than Olivia.
Yeah. So you had kids that remember her too.
Yes. Yeah. The older 3 definitely do. And it's funny, even Ben he acts like he remembers her because he came so close to when she passed away. So she was, very present in our life still. And so he went to her gravesite a lot of times with us, and pictures of her. And so he talks about her like he was there when she was there.
I love that you're so open in your family with talking about her and with having memories right there, even though your youngest one is little, just making it not a taboo thing,
Yeah.
You put in your book that grief is healing. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So Am I, that book. So I wrote a book and an album, both called So Am I. And those were written during the months of her life. So that 14 months of life, living and letting go, it was, even before she was born, we knew that she was terminal from the doctors. And even we would go to get sonograms, and we'd find ourselves in these conversations with the doctors about how to deal with her death. And as soon as terminal condition became part of the equation, it was like we were put on a different track. And instead of looking forward to her life, we're looking forward to her death. And it really just hit me, and it hit my wife, Heather, during the pregnancy, how the contrast between these conversations that we're having about her death, and then she's kicking at the same time.
And
And it just felt like she was just reminding us, like, hey, I am alive. And it really shifted our mindset when that light went on for us, that if she's going to die during birth, this is the life of our daughter. It's these few months left of pregnancy. This is what we get. And not just this is what we get, like this is all we get, but this is the whole entire thing.
that's her life.
That's her life. And that's one whole life, just the same as 100-year-old life in value. It's just packed into a really short amount of time.
Wow,
Right.
I love that you're saying this, Nathan. It sounds like just leaning into being present during the pregnancy, because this might be all you have.
Yes. Yeah. And we were sure it was.
Mhm.
And so, I think before that realization, I kind of realized I was hesitating even to give her a name. And I had a lot of guilt when I realized that, but it really showed me how my system was trying to protect me. Like I knew somewhere in there that as soon as I name her, it's going to be that much more painful to say goodbye. And we really had to just we had to start making this decision on a moment by moment basis, even during the pregnancy, to go in deeper. It's going to hurt that much more on the other side of her death.
Yeah.
The more love we put in, and the more we allow ourselves to love her. But when we realized, when we saw it that plainly, we just felt like, well, we're all in. Like we got to go all in.
And she lived to be 15 months, didn't she?
Yeah, 14. Yeah,
That must have been pretty unbelievable that you had 14 months with her.
yeah. It was such a mixture. Because on one hand, there's so much uncertainty. I mean, that was 14 months of like, this could be the last day type of thing. And especially towards the beginning, I mean, those first few days, those first few weeks, this could be the last minute. It was every minute was like, oh, this could be the last one. So we didn't sleep because we didn't want to miss her life. And
That is so dear. That is
yeah,
so dear that you didn't even want to sleep because you didn't want to miss a moment.
yeah, it was.
Life.
She was also really not good at sleeping. So part of it was the caretaking element of it too.
How about the kids? Yeah, I'm sure it was a lot of caretaking. What do you think it did to your family? Do you think it brought them more together or split them up, or was it a mixed thing?
It did both. It was a mixture. The same way that probably many traumas in life can be.
You can hold both of those together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So it was very traumatic. It was a hard situation because of, especially, no sleeping. We're not healthy physically, and then emotionally to handle that weight was just too much. So it was a really, really, really hard time, and we did the best we could as parents for our other kids, but we absolutely fell short in a million ways to be present for them. And so in a lot of ways, they lost their parents during that time.
Wow, Heidi, does that sound familiar? That's exactly, you have said my words that I've said to Heidi and my other kids before. We really fell short as parents.
Well, like you said, Nathan, with your situation, you felt like you fell short because you had to take care of her. And then I'm sure after she died, and as a sibling, it's definitely to a certain extent a double loss for us, at least initially, because we do lose some of the emotional availability of our parents.
Mhm.
However, that being said, we also have seen the pain and agony our parents are in, and we recognize that they're not in a great space and they're doing the best that they can too.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they're, on a yacht abandoning us, sailing away. I mean, they're there trying to struggle to find hope. And like you said, take care of your daughter. And it's a lot. It's a lot for, I think, the family,
Yeah. Yeah, and in that light, I think one of the best things that we did for our kids was to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
The whole process.
Yep.
I 100% agree with that. In fact, of several weeks after my brother died, my mother went out jogging and she felt extreme guilt because she was worried. I'm going to speak for her for a minute, that the neighbors would be saying, she doesn't love her son. She's out running and jogging. And I was so relieved because I thought, oh my gosh, she's taking care of herself because I've lost my brother and I can't lose my parents.
Yeah.
I was really concerned that my parents were in bad places. And I thought, I'm so happy to see my mom taking care of herself. So it's a gift for parents to give kids when they take care of themselves. I agree with you.
Let's fast forward a little bit to COVID, because as we go out of the show, we're going to play the song wrote Mask. And I wanted to ask you, what about COVID and the losses and all that? How has that come in? Do you think it's impacted your family differently because you've had a loss?
Absolutely. Yeah. We there's so many parallels. We had to quarantine with Olivia. We were looking at death every day as like a thing, like our thing in our lives now, a possibility. We couldn't, so we couldn't see people the same way we could before. We couldn't go out to eat the way we could before. We couldn't work. We had to stop working at our jobs. Everything halted for us to be able to hold Olivia. And not only the halting, but then when it halted, the thing we were left with in the stillness was so much fear. And that was very acute with Olivia. We watched the whole world experience a lot of those same things over the last few years, especially at the beginning. Yeah. And so for our family, specifically for us, it felt like we'd been trained for a time like that. It felt like, oh, this isn't so bad. I mean, I should say it depended on the day, because I actually had a lot of, after Olivia died, I had a lot of, and I still do, I have a lot of fear about germs. She couldn't get sick. And then when she finally did die, it was just a cold, but she wasn't strong enough. So anytime that someone gets sick in a house, or I even hear about someone getting sick who lives in another state, I'm like, I get really afraid that it doesn't have to make sense, but my body goes into the feeling that someone in my family's going to die. And I feel it. Like it doesn't even matter what I say to myself. I feel that. And so on that, I guess in that light, COVID was extra challenging for me. But at the same time, we learned from Olivia how to hold a posture of rest in the midst of uncertainty. And even after her passing, learned that if we can keep holding that posture of rest, that there was actually something really valuable for us, even in her absence. It was obvious what was there for us in her presence. It was her. In her absence, this new thing took over, and I guess I'm transitioning to the grief is healing tagline.
Mhm.
But I realized during that process that if I was to allow the grief process to do its thing, there was actually deeper healing for me available, eager, almost like it was eager to heal, deeper than just my loss of Olivia, which was deep. But it was almost as if once I was willing to cooperate with the process of grief, didn't recognize the difference between grief of the loss of my daughter and grief over lots of other losses in life.
Mhm.
The-
So this is surrendering to the process.
yeah.
So talk about writing mask.
I take a walk every day. That happened before Olivia. I had no idea how life-saving it would be for me during Olivia's life and during the grief process.
And during COVID, I assume.
And during COVID, yeah.
Mhm.
Today, this morning. And I passed someone, I was walking and I passed someone, and this person looked at me and I looked at this person, and I didn't have a mask on, but this person did. And you can pass someone and just not connect, but this time we did. And it really struck me. We kept walking and I just felt like just had a really deep connection with this person, and they were wearing a mask, and it just this line just hit me. That wasn't the type of mask that separates us, because I could still see their eyes. We connected, and so the line was, a mask is not a mask if we don't cover up our eyes.
Uh-huh.
And I started writing this chorus on the walk. I got home and wrote it down really quickly. And I was like, oh, I wonder what the verse is going to be. And I spent the rest of the day writing the song. And at some point while I was writing it, I just had this like really vivid flash to our experience with Olivia the day that she was born. It was the scariest day because we were getting ready to say goodbye. And just such a scary day. And I remembered that there was this one nurse, and she was so present in the operating room, and later Heather told me she was extremely present with her even before I got in there. And at one point, Heather was telling me that this nurse, she put her head against my wife's head, and they both just cried. And that was it. I don't think she really said anything. And I had a really similar experience of this nurse's presence in the operating room. And so the chorus of the song, the later chorus of the song is, you're not alone. I'm here with you now. Until the morning comes, close your eyes. I'm here with you tonight. And I pictured this nurse saying this to us. And somewhere while I was like finished writing the song, and it, like, I don't know why it didn't occur to me until I finished writing the song, but I realized, oh my gosh, she was wearing a mask. Like,
oh my gosh.
it was pre-mask days, but not in the hospital, in the operating room, we were all wearing a mask. She was wearing a mask before this whole mask thing. And we connected on such a deep level. And she was such a support to us without being able to use words or her mouth. It all happened through her eyes.
How lovely and energetic. Tell people where they can get in touch with you, and we're going to play Mask on the way out of the show today.
Easiest way is just my website, nathanpederson.net.
And it's a beautiful website and lots of good music and ways to connect with Nathan. And Nathan is so great. If anybody has any workshops or anything they want going on, he is a wonderful presenter. And what did he say? Just a man and his guitar, but you are powerful. And love to you and your family. And thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Please go to Nathan's website. I love his music. He knows this because I've emailed him and told him before. Seriously, you are really talented. And, you know, you really touch to the core of our hearts. So please go listen to his music. And thank you so much. And I know Olivia is there with you in spirit when you're writing and telling your story. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for joining us on the show today. And Heidi and I always want to remind you that if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.
Who'd have known that this is where we'd be? Broke down, torn apart. In a bleak, cold night where we can't see what is going on. We are cold, pulled apart, trying to stay a little warm. A mask is not a mask if we don't cover up our eyes. When our hands are tied behind our backs through never-ending nights, our eyes can still say everything, like you are not alone. I am here. I am here with you now till the morning comes. Close your eyes. I am here with you tonight. We are cold, pulled apart, trying to stay a little warm. But a mask is not a mask if we don't cover up our eyes. When our hands are tied behind our backs through never-ending nights, our eyes can still say everything, like you are not alone. I am here. I am here with you now till the morning comes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. 'Cause you are not I am smiling back at you tonight. I am here with you tonight.
I'm Dr. Heidi Horsley. You have been listening to Open to Hope, the podcast. You can follow Open to Hope on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn more, visit us at opentohope.com and go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe.
I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley. Join us again next week for another Open to Hope conversation, where we invite you to lean on our hope until you find your own.